Africa's most populated country is struggling to feed its people. Food prices are soaring, and so are hunger and desperation. Authorities have flung the gates open for some food items, waiving import duties and other charges. But how did Nigeria get here? Will ongoing efforts solve the problem? Just Nigeria's Ayuba Iliya has been speaking to stakeholders and has some answers.
When I remember Nigeria,
young Nigerians have taken to social media to call government's attention to the high cost of living while demanding a significant cut in the cost of governance. At least 26 million Nigerians are facing food insecurity, yet only 50% of the country's 70 million hectares farmland is being used.
In some cases, Nigerians don't even have enough to spend on food.
With food inflation at 40%, government is desperate for a way out.
We have also released over 1,500,000 bags of fertilizer, which is under evacuation by the state governments.
But high food prices persist. Prices of food items have skyrocketed across Nigeria in the past year, leaving many families struggling. Behind all the data and analysis are farmers who are barely surviving. Salebala is from Kaure, an agrarian community in Shiroro local government area of north-central Nigeria's Niger State. Saleh and more than 50 others have been taking shelter in this camp, several kilometers from home, for over 5 years after bandits sacked them from their community.
When we were living peacefully in our community, we farmed maize and guinea corn. One person could farm up to 100 bags. Aside yam, rice and soya beans of 50 bags each.
Benue State used to be called the food basket of the nation. It was a badge the north-central Nigerian state wore with honor. In the state capital, Makurdi, Elizabeth Shao is learning to be a hairdresser after fleeing armed attacks in her community.
I be farmer, so the farm they solve our problem. But since when the crisis happened, we no fit go back to village, so we dey for town.
Elizabeth desires to return home soon, but with lingering insecurity, it remains uncertain if her wishes will ever come through. Saleh and Elizabeth are not alone. Thousands of rural farmers have been forced to migrate to urban areas for safety and better economic fortunes. In March 2024, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons revealed that 6.1 million Nigerians have been displaced by insecurity and natural disasters. Experts believe government policies and infrastructural deficit in the agricultural sector are also key factors in the food crisis.
It significantly exacerbated around 2019 when the border closure in Nigeria was announced. It was a protectionist policy by the Buhari administration.
Everyone and anyone can trace it back to the joint policies that had to do with the unification of the exchange rates and removal of subsidy on fuel.
An average farmer cannot afford fertilizers, cannot afford insecticides and other herbicides. And then they cannot also go to their farms easily because of insecurities. And then they have no access to credit, no access to real mechanization.
It's been 1 year since President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food security. Since then, several measures have been taken.
I also briefed Council on the interventions on the 42,000 metric tons, of which all had been delivered to all the states, and then 20 trailers of rice per state.
The National Agricultural Growth Scheme, coined Agro Pocket, is trying to reach about 2 million farmers to support them to cultivate half a hectare, with some inputs and fertilizers. The CBN also gave about 2.1 million bags of fertilizers to be given to the farmers free of charge.
Several states have also taken steps to boost food productivity. Niger State has the largest landmass in the country with 29,484 square meters. In Rafi local government area, government is cultivating this land in Tegina Road as one of the cluster farms across the state.
In total, we are looking at about 2,150 metric tons by the special grace of God. And after harvest, this is what we expect in return.
In northwest Nigeria, Kebbi State is the largest producer of rice with an average production of about 3 million metric tons annually.
Part of what we intend to do is to increase the productivity per given area through giving farmer support in input, good seeds, as well as irrigation pumps and good extension service delivery.
Southwestern Nigeria's Oyo State has the largest landmass in the region. Like its northern counterparts, the State Commissioner for Agriculture here is optimistic that respite will come to the people soon.
At the moment, we have a program called a tractorization subsidy. Through that program, the government of Oyo State is paying 50% of cost of plowing farmland to support farmers. We bought 60,000 bundles of cassava stems, which we have distributed to them. We have equally distributed 16 kilograms of maize seed to 2,889 arable farmers.
We have also a program in place to be able to waive some tariffs and taxes to be able to import certain items for a period of 5 months or 150 days.
Nigeria's food inflation problem, like I said, has been going on for the last 5 years, right? So 150 days is a really short time to erase the impact of 5 years.
Experts argue that government responses have failed to address the core issues.
The government initiatives as well are sometimes always short-term, and in as much as we have to critically resolve some of these issues, it's good to think sustainability towards achieving food security.
The palliatives being thrown are all temporary. You can talk about distributing 20 trailers of rice to a particular state, or any state for that matter. But the truth is, how are you sure it gets to them?
The United Nations says unless drastic measures are in place to wind back Nigeria's food crisis, at least 82 million Nigerians will experience starvation by 2030.
Most of Nigeria's food is transported through roads, and road infrastructure, road networks are very limited. To solve that problem, right, the government can either prefer or create incentives to allow people to move food through alternative means.
Government also needs to provide some access to loans for smallholder farmers to be able to access these loans at a very reduced interest rate.
I would expect that practically every state has, and beyond the Ministry of Agriculture, some kind of agricultural development authority where farmers have been clustered, put in collectives based on the type of crops they grow, so that the tools and the implements get to where they are needed.
As Nigerians protest high living costs, and with the country's population projected to hit 262 million by 2030, experts insist that it is incumbent on government to partner critical stakeholders in boosting the country's agricultural productivity for food sufficiency. The first port of call would be to get farmers like Sally and Elizabeth back working on their farmlands without fear of being attacked. Ayuba, Iliya, Gist, Nigeria.
Nigeria must do its best to feed its people. How are you coping with the soaring food prices? Share your thoughts with us on X at Gist Nigeria TV. We will like to hear from you.